We're going to have a hearing first. Would you please stand for the invocation? Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for another day, oh Lord. Oh Lord, we ask you to bless the parish, oh Father. Bless these kids that are achieving so much in their life, oh Lord. We ask you to lead them and guide them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please follow me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, any guest and public comments for the public hearing? Being none. Number one, DeSoto Parish Police Jury will conduct a public hearing with respect to proposal refunding bonds series 2023 being issued to refund an outstanding environmental improvement revenue refunding bonds international paper company project series 2015A. Notice of this public hearing is published on April 27, 2023, pursuant to the section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code. Okay. That's the public hearing.
Okay.
Gotta get a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Got a motion by Mr. Dwayne. I got a second by Mr. Rowe. We'll adjourn. Let us regular meeting call to order. And we have some guests gonna do the invocation, please, and the pledge of allegiance. Would you please stand?
Come to the mic. Do the invocation first.
We all bow y'all's heads. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us all here today as a community. I ask you to be with everyone here, including the board members as members, to make better decisions for the future of our community. I want to thank you for everything that is being done by you for our lives. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we're up to our presentation of Achievement of Service Award. First one we have Chester Simpson. Are you? Yeah, that's Chester. We got Chester Simpson for 20-year service award for his loyalty, digital, and outstanding performance. Thank you, sir.
Everybody knows, and most of y'all have seen this, that just happens. It's quite fine to laugh, because I think it's funny too. But anyway, it has probably been, come on, you wanna come up front? I'll squeeze in here. Yeah, squeeze in front. You can watch your grown man cry. This organization, or the girls softball team at North DeSoto, has always been special to me for over 20 years. Most of the girls might know the history, but I had 3 daughters. So Vic, don't you stand in front.
all right.
I had 3 daughters that played on these teams. And now I'm blessed that I have a granddaughter that plays on this team.
Oh, yeah.
Forgive me, I'm so sorry. So anyway, I'm very proud of y'all. Y'all have done an amazing thing by winning 3 in a row for the second time. It speaks a lot for the caliber of kids, for the programs that are in the parish that help y'all learn softball before you even get to high school, for all the coaches who help you, especially for the parents who tote you around to all these different games that you go to that aren't affiliated with the school, but in your summer ball that you play. They probably deserve the biggest award besides y'all. It takes good parents, teachers, good coaches to make y'all a great team. And I believe y'all are a great team because you did it 3 times in a row. I hope you do it 3 more times in a row. I hope you at least do it 1 more time, so there will be some of you that might end up with 4 rings on your fingers. That'd be pretty impressive. 3's impressive enough. So anyway, we're not gonna give y'all a little token award like we've done before, because I really kind of think that's a little silly. But I'm proud of y'all. We got the team a plaque, and we did get Laney Johnson a plaque for being voted the most valuable player of the tournament. I would like to read I got 4 lines of statistics here that y'all accomplished this year. Your overall record was 35-2. Your district championship record was 7-0. You outscored your opponents in the playoff 39-4. Your team batting average was .368. You scored 390 runs during the year with 95 home runs. And Laney Johnson, we have a plaque for you for being the most valuable player in the tournament.
I thought that's who I saw them highlights one time.
And then we have a plaque for the team, which is presented to North DeSoto Lady Griffin. Sorry, I'm embarrassed to know her completely. In recognition of the Louisiana High School Athletic Association 2003 4A softball state championship, season record 35-2, and in May of 2023.
Greg, can we get all the girls up here so we can get a picture with you and the girls? So can y'all get all up here?
We'll wiggle this way.
Yeah.
Go back.
They can come.
Come over there in the front. That way y'all have more room.
Greg, is that the coach? Is that the coach? Right?
Yeah.
He's a big one, tall enough, block me out.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
They know where to go eat, Greg?
Oh, there is refreshments for y'all. If you go down the hall on the right, there's cake and there's some drinks in the kitchen area. Just eat all of it you want. If you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. But thank y'all for coming. Coach, thank you for bringing them.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, man. If you're lucky, you make me cry again next year.
Okay, we have more to come. We have 4-H.
All right.
More to come. First one up, we have Mr. Willie Lubach. He's first place junior air pistol. Okay, next one up is Delton Shanahan, qualified for National Shotgun Team.
Shotgun.
Okay, we have Eli Smith, qualified for National 2021.
I'm good. How are you?
Next one we have where she has two, Emma Houston. Air rifle silhouette. She qualified for the Junior Olympics.
That's where my head.
That's what happens when you do great.
Okay, say hi.
Next we have Addison Burnley. First place junior.
Wow, Rodriguez.
Last but not least, Scholar Phillips, first place in small bore silhouette and air rifle silhouette. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Also, Christmas in the kitchen for the 4-H'ers.
4-Hers and their families go down that hall. It's on the left.
You are. I like you back here watching. I like you back here watching. So you can protect me.
Thank you.
Wow, I cleared it.
I don't doubt that, and I'm glad that you talked with him, because he needs some help. Thank you, sir. Your high school track team will be one.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I'm.
Hey, we're not done yet.
Okay, good.
We didn't give him a cake.
We're not done yet. One of our very own assistant road superintendent, Mr. Philip Clark. He's a scholar in roads.
Oh.
A scholar.
Is that what this is?
Yeah. Louisiana Road Scholar Program. I'll read this right quick. Louisiana has a total of 61,300 public miles of state highway, local roads. Local government is responsibility for maintaining 73% of 44,700 of these roads. In addition to nearly 5,000 bridges, 38 of the total public bridges in the state. The Road Scholar Program gives local transportation personnel an opportunity to improve the roads and bridges maintaining skills. It consists of 15 courses that are 4 to 6 hours long. Did you go sleep? That's good. 15 hours long. They are offered over 3 years period of time. Location across the state. Participation who complete the program will have adequate base knowledge of road maintenance, road zone safety, and work safety. Certification is awarded upon completion of the program. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
It wouldn't have been possible without y'all granting me that.
Yeah, if I may. No, it's all good. You know, the world keeps changing rather rapidly, and one of the things that happens in engineering and construction is that changes rapidly, so they tell us, you gotta go to class, you gotta go to class, or you're gonna lose your license. He understands it from his past history as well as his current history. So about 10 years ago, I didn't want to keep taking these classes by myself, so I reached out to guys like Philip and Woodley and a few others and said, you guys need to start taking that continuing education. Get those PDHs, and the jury's willing to pay. And I think that's when his ears popped up just a little bit. But it did mean a lot that y'all supported us through this thing. I want you to know too that some of the classes were at LDESA, which is the Parish Engineers and Road Superintendents Association. That's hooked at the hip with the Police Jury Association. He's gone DOTD classes down in Baton Rouge. He's done LTAP classes across the state, and they're also affiliated with the Highway Department. In this past 10 years, Philip's earned about 180 PDHs, which is similar in number to what I've got, maybe even beat me just a little bit. 60 of those hours, 60 plus of those hours, he had to take specific courses. Half a dozen were on a list that said you have to take them, and then they gave him a similar list that said you gotta take 4 of these. So he didn't just get to pick anything he wanted to go to and say it counted. He had to do what they told him to do. And to get that Louisiana Road Scholar Program certification, yeah, it takes a while. And he persevered, he hung in there with it, and I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people that won't do that. In fact, Mr. Baker, I get a little bit of that sensitive stuff too. I just want you to know, because when I was sitting there in that conference and they called Philip up, and they only called one person up. Well, Philip and his wife, excuse me. They called nobody. They called nobody else up. He was the only one at the conference that received that. I think it says something about the value of earning that and the dedication that he made to this program. Think about that. Almost 10 years worth the effort. And why does it take so long? No, it's not because he's a little slow or something, but no, it's because they only offer those courses at certain times during any given year. They don't offer them all every year by any stretch of the imagination. So he had to work to figure out where they were going to be and what they were going to be about. The jury, thank you again for supporting that. It really means a lot, not only to me, but to the employees here in this organization. And I want you to understand, you get that back a lot of ways. That extra, those extra courses and learning how to do something the right way, it comes back tenfold to this police jury. Deanna, stand up at least. Have we all heard that old saying about behind a good man?
Oh, yes.
Well, there's one right there. I know she's done a little bit of this, a little bit of that foot stuff along the way, and that's good, and thank you for doing that and supporting her. But, Philip, I guess I do need to tell you that when I'm sitting in that chair watching you get that award, and I start welling up like Mr. Baker did right here, I made up my mind right then that when I came back, I'm gonna go to that man and say, I wanna say something about Philip. Philip, congratulations isn't good enough, but thank you from my heart. It meant a lot that you stayed the course, not only for you and the jury, but Steve Brown. You stayed the course and you earned it, and I hope the rest of the employees follow in your footsteps.
That's right. Thank you again, Philip. I have one more other announcement. I'm gonna spill the bean out. We're gonna do it next month, but Mansfield Track
Yes.
have won state also that we're gonna recognize next month in Volley Blue, baseball player here from Mansfield. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Any call for additions and deletion to the agenda? Being none, any guests and public comments for the regular meeting agenda? Okay, yes, sir.
My name is Ken Kafka. I'm the mayor of Stonewall.
Yes, sir.
First thing I'd like to turn around, I'm here for the topic that y'all are gonna have on old business, item number 3, about the changing the language on the CEA.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to tell you, I want to thank all the jurymen for the recent CEA that you had with Stonewall on the doing of the overlaying of Shady Lake subdivision. First thing, that's what I want to get off the bat, right off the bat. We appreciate it with y'all working with us on that. Next thing, I'm just going to ask you to consider on how you vote on this, on helping the municipalities out on each one. We're not just talking Stonewall, we're talking the city of Mansfield, we're talking Logansport, we're talking all of them. And I'm going to try to make this really short and sweet. We would love to continue doing business with the police jury, working on CEAs together in the future. And I believe that if I can think of just between this CEA, and I believe there was one maybe a little over 2 years ago on Hall Road that y'all agreed on, that work on paying materials only, and labor and equipment was through the police jury. Well, about 70%, 65 to 70% is materials only, and then the other cost is the labor and equipment. So what I'm trying to say about that is that the town of Stonewall people contribute just like everybody else in the parish on road taxes. And I believe, if it's not right, it's 6.06, correct? Yes, sir. And that's so, but there's about, y'all need to know that about 80% of the town of Stonewall people don't travel on any parish roads. Well, no, I can show you, they get on, your people in Stonewall take the kids to school, they turn around and live in Shreveport. I mean, they do work in Shreveport, they work in Bossier, or they work in Mansfield and the surrounding areas, the major highways. But I also can turn around and say that in the communities that are outside the community, the town of Stonewall limits, the subdivisions and stuff that go, they all travel on town roads that the town has to take care of first for them to get to there. They do travel that 100% of the time. So I just want y'all to take into consideration. I believe in the millage, the town of Stonewall individuals and its constituents pay pretty close to about $170,000 a year. And this past project was only about $27,000 as far as labor and material cost. Labor and equipment. So we should take that in consideration when you vote, that it's not only going, if it's a deal against Stonewall or whatever, it's going to hurt every little municipality that's around here that you turn around and can't give a little help to. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. Okay.
How y'all doing?
All right.
Of course, everybody know who I am. Mayor Thomas Jones of Mansfield. I share the same sentiments. If you look around, you know, and I know we do use the parish roads sometimes, very little. But, and I know that they're the interest in making sure the parish take care of their business. But we got to remember, the city, we don't have road tax. Municipalities don't have a road. Our road tax is built into y'all's tax. And we lean on we always have leaned on the bigger source to help us out. You do that with the state to get bigger monies. So we have we have about almost 5,000 citizens in Mansfield, Louisiana. You get a lot of taxes from our people in Mansfield, Louisiana. We don't come every year asking for CEAs. Rarely, few and far between will come and ask because we need the help. Our coffers are not as big, and our monies are going into your coffers from our city. We're just asking for your help every once in a while on these small needs sometimes.
have a deal going on with the school board. We're going to have to overlay that road over there where they just built their new facility. That's not in our budget, but it's our road. So, but we got to do it because we don't want to have a nice facility like that with a road that need to be overlaid. It's not good business. But I'm coming to you, same thing the mayor asked, or Stonewall asked, same thing. Reconsider, not giving us the help because we do pay our fair share of taxes. And I hope we can look at this from a different perspective. We may be in the municipality, we may be in the municipality, but we are still in the same parish that you guys are serving. And guess what? Our people vote for you all. We have people in our city that vote for some of you guys sitting around the table here. Please consider that. So please, we want to know that. And I don't travel the parish roads much. I mean, I go to church on a state road. I go to work on city roads. I go to Shreveport on state highways. There's nobody in Pelican anymore. All my people that stayed in Pelican moved out Pelican. My wife's people stay at Shreveport or somewhere else. I don't have to go down there for any reason. So those roads, those rural areas, I'm from the rural area, but no one's down there anymore. And when Carmel, Monday Road, where I'm from, there's no one really on Monday Road. So a lot of the people have moved into the city of Mansfield and other areas, and we need your help. So please consider that when you're voting tonight. Thank you much.
Thank you for your time. President report, none. Council report? Administrative report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1 is the earthworks excavation bid for the new South landfill has been sent to advertising the first week in May and with an anticipated bid opening around May the 30th. This is a project that the jury approved in the budget, $1 million in the budget for this. Right now, our landfill superintendent is doing everything he can to excavate as much dirt and use it as cover dirt, so that potentially can lower the cost. But to make y'all aware, we've sent that to advertisement. The second item, a cyber incursion event occurred on April 7th, 2023, Good Friday, which shut, whether some of y'all realize this or not, shut the email service down through April the 11th of the following week. This was identified and countered in a matter of minutes by our IT staff and the Purple guys who do active monitoring on our systems. IT was up here the week of Good Friday, pulling equipment out of the person's PC that was affected and pulling equipment out of our network closet to make sure that we can isolate and scrub that equipment. We averted a potential catastrophe. It only shut us down. Now, they were in our system, and this was some bad actors from the Netherlands or something. They hacked, somehow they got into our system, but they were only in there for about 2 minutes before they were shut down. 2 minutes. It took them 2 minutes to shut down our email servers for 5 days. So it could have gone a lot worse. I wanted y'all to be aware of what we're trying to do, the active role that I've taken as your administrator to make sure that we're protected from these cyber incursions. And if any of y'all have any specific questions about that event, we do have a report, but I would ask that y'all request an executive session to discuss this, because I don't recommend this being discussed in open meetings. And this is one of the exceptions to where an executive session can discuss items like that. But y'all needed to be aware of that, and that's what I'm reporting to you today. Number 3, the 4-H building parking lot restriping project in partnership with the DeSoto 4-H group will occur sometime this summer. The ag agent over there, Mr. Sally, requested that we get some striping done, and he wanted that to be part of their Junior Leaders Community Service Program. I told him that would not be a problem. It's a matter of jury's just going to put up the materials for the paint, which we have in stock. So it's going to be a very minimal expense, and they're going to be monitored by our maintenance department to make sure everything's ADA compliant and everything. That should occur sometime in July, I believe they told me. Number 4, Planning Commission update. The Planning Commission met on April 13th of last month. They did not meet this month. They didn't have anything on the agenda, but their topic for discussion was, they had a, hang on one second, I'll find my notes. They gave a conditional preliminary approval to Palmetto Creek Estates, which is off of Bosman Road and Stonewall. The conditions are dependent upon minor changes to the plat. The roads are to be built to parish road standards, but are to remain private and will be maintained by a homeowners association. The jury will not be spending any of their money on those constituents' properties. They're all aware of it. They're being made aware of it if people come and they purchase property. The individual who presented the plat was told repeatedly, asked repeatedly, and if you want to, I'm starting to stream the Planning Commission meetings live, so those can be made available through YouTube at a juror's request if y'all will have any questions about what they discuss. But wanted y'all to be aware that was the last commission meeting that we had. Yes,
I have one question. Going back to individuals that are wanting to purchase some land to build, are they going to, will they have to sign something? Will the landowners or whomever have them to sign something stating that they understand the rights that we are not going to maintain this road?
I believe
or is
that,
it verbal?
oh no, I believe that would be in their covenants or their
Okay.
their homeowners association
Okay.
agreement to where they'd have to do that. But point is, for this particular neighborhood, everyone who purchases a lot is going to go in there with their eyes wide open, knowing the jury is not going to be maintaining these roads, and that's a flood zone. There's an area in there that's in a flood zone. So
Okay.
the developer knows this. So yes.
Just make sure it's in
Go ahead.
writing.
I just wanted to ask and verify that when the roads are named, are they going to be named private drives
They should be, yes, sir.
and marked as such?
They should be, yes, sir.
I would just like Mr. Brown to check into the flood elevation level of the lots in the houses, because I believe you're responsible for that, right, for the parish? Because it's interesting this came up, because somebody stopped me at church yesterday and said, did you go down there? And I said, I didn't know it had moved forward. And he said, well, they've built the road up twice and it's flooded twice with both rains. And he said, everywhere they put dirt to build for the houses, he said, all that's underwater right now. So I just don't want there to come,
well.
I don't want anything to come back on us.
Exactly.
So you being the floodplain manager, if you just check into that, you know, we don't want a Bossier repeat from the Red River.
Okay, item 5. I will be replacing Steve Brown on the North Louisiana Council of Governments Board effective July 1st, 2023, which runs concurrently with their fiscal year. This was a position that, per their bylaws, they are, the parish administrator sits on that board, and I wanted y'all to be aware that I asked Steve to sit as my proxy this past year, just so I could kind of get my head above water as taking over as the parish administrator. I wanted y'all to let y'all know that I will be effectively resuming that seat for him. But if y'all have any questions about that, I'll be glad to give y'all and give you proper updates as any of the NLCOG issues that might come up. Number 6, Larry Bagley's bill. We have I got a call from his legislative aide asking for what does the jury need? Well, Steve maintains and has maintained a list of items that we need to work on. The target was about $250,000 was what Larry was telling us we needed to get. It was going to be for something, new construction or repair to one of our facilities. So we picked the 2 heated storage tanks that are out of the road department. They are currently not being used because they're broke, and we haven't done anything to fix them. So Steve has given me an estimate on it'd be less, maybe right at about $250,000 to replace. And that would include any construction and demolition of the equipment that's currently out there. Item 7, George Hunt Road. A number of you jurors have asked and made comment about George Hunt Road. And I want y'all to know I've been in contact since I was first made aware of the issues on George Hunt Road with the roads being so damaged by the oil field companies. I've contacted the oil and gas company that they're responsible for repairing it. As soon as the weather permits, they will be repairing all damaged sections to include cutting sections out and replacing with asphalt back to its original state. This is something I probably talk to these guys every 2 weeks to get an update. And the last update I had last week, they said they're hoping to start this week, weather permitting. Item 8, road department operating hours are going to start May the 30th, the day after Memorial Day, and run until October 2nd. The hours are going to be 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. That's the 8-hour operating time. Just making the jury aware of that. Number 9, board resignation from the Northwest Louisiana Human Services District. Each of you have a copy of the letter in your binder. Miss Bridget Salisbury, who currently serves as the Victim Assistance Coordinator for the District Attorney's Office, has respectfully resigned because her duties and her job as a mother just take too much of her time. She wanted me to thank y'all for the opportunity for her to serve. There is a great need, she says, through that program, and we need some recommendations on who the board can appoint, or a police juror can, you can step in if a police juror wants to do that role. I'd encourage y'all to do that. That's what Ms. Salisbury mentioned to me. So. Number 10, occupancy tax update. Last year, y'all tasked me with looking into the occupancy tax issue that y'all have. Well, I'm just going to cliff notes this for you because I can talk on this topic for quite some time. In fact, I'm going to be speaking to the chamber tomorrow about this topic. The jury has the authority to pass an ordinance to restate the occupancy tax that was previously suspended by Ordinance 11 of 1995. This is a unique tax. The timeline on this tax was in 1975, Act 19, which was passed by the legislature, enacted a tax statewide. It gave the authority to every parish governing authority to create a tourism commission or a tourism board of some sort. Some parishes, like the one I came from, joined with the neighboring parish, Caddo, to form the Shreveport-Bossier Tourist Bureau. Here, y'all have the DeSoto Parish Tourism Commission. The jury formed that in 1984 and enacted a 2% occupancy tax on the rental of hotel rooms, motel rooms, and overnight camping facilities. Now, the original legislation authorized the juries to do this up to 3%, but the jury here in DeSoto Parish initially they did a 2% increase. Well, in 1990, they authorized increasing that to 3% to pay for the services that the Tourism Bureau provided. Shortly after that, 5 years later, the jury adopted an ordinance to rescind that tax or suspend it effectively parish-wide. Now, I've been asked by the Tourist Bureau, well, what's the status of the tax? And I'm going to tell them tomorrow the status of the tax is it's suspended. We have some organizations, some businesses in DeSoto Parish that collect it and remit it to us voluntarily. They don't have to do that. In fact, I would say they probably shouldn't be charging that levy to the people who are using those overnight camping facilities. That tax is used and sent to us as the collector, and we pass that on for a small fee. Our fee is 6%. We don't make very much money on that at all to the Tourist Bureau. So my recommendation is if the jury wants to, you can simply pass by ordinance to reenact or reinstate that 3% occupancy tax. I have copies of all the original legislation. I had to actually obtain some from the University of Southern California because we couldn't get that stuff going back to 1975. But I have all the ordinances if any of the jurors have any questions about that. Item 11, the ARPA funds update. In your packet also, you'll see a sheet that gives you an update on the spending of the ARPA funds for this year. I'm going to let Lily give y'all the specifics on that if y'all have any questions about those items, but I wanted y'all to be aware that I did put that in your packet today. And that concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, lobbyist report.
Our lobbyist is currently in session. He's not,
Right.
he didn't make it today. So.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Mr. President, if I may,
Sir.
can we go back to a question? If you would you mention to Representative Bagley that on Benning Road, coming off of I-49, there's a section, there's a quarter of a mile section of that road that's really torn up, and it belongs to the state. If you could you please ask him if they can address that and get the state to work on that particular
Benning?
area?
You said Benning Road?
Right, Benning Road.
Okay. Yes, sir, I will.
Okay.
That'll be, 513 or 513?
Right, yeah.
State Highway
513.
513, I believe.
Right. Coming off
And
State
Benning
Road
Road.
513 and Benning Road. It's been horrible for years, and
I believe that was one of the roads that was mentioned possibly doing a right size program with the state. I'm not sure. But
Yeah,
I'll
it
look
was,
into
yeah.
that for you. Yes, sir.
And of course, I think back when General was governor, they came up and said that they were going to repair that particular section of the road, but they never did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Being none, Treasurer financial report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I should have received the April 30th financials in your packet. Hopefully you had a time to review those. Our general fund, the royalties and severance tax is above projected revenues, while our expenses are about over a little bit over 1% above budgeted amounts. The road fund, same thing as far as the severance, and then the sales tax are above projections, while the expenses are below the budgeted amount. That will hopefully change in the next quarter or so with, we got several bids that are coming up for road projects. Our sales tax revenue is about 17% above projections. In our solid waste fund, the tipping fees revenue is up by 5%, while the expenses are down by 14%. Once again, that will pick up, like Mr. Norton mentioned, we have that excavation bid that's coming up. So once that gets to work, we'll be spending money on that. The criminal court fund, if you see on their fund balance, that's roughly been increased by $42,000. If y'all remember, I asked for y'all to approve a transfer back in December to go towards that. They have been bringing additional revenue through that program that started in October of last year. So their fund balance right now sits at $42,000. And hopefully that will continue to stay afloat to where we can offset those costs and we won't have to make any additional transfers at least this year. OCS, we're still waiting on some reimbursements from the programs. So their revenue right now is at 15%, while their expenses are at 29%. The airport is at 6% revenues, while their expenses are at 11%. ARPA funds, most of the money has been allocated on that sheet that you have. What I have put is allocations based on information I have received from the road department as far as roads that y'all have called and asked to be put on their list to be fixed this year. So that is obligated funds and money that has been set aside for that. Pretty much everything is allocated with the exception of the interest, and we received $50,000 in addition to go through matching funds that can be used for any projects, capital road projects that will need any matching. That was all within the ARPA. We'll receive an additional $50,000 next year too. The rental assistance revenue, your expenses are offset through the revenues, and they're at 32%. animal control expenses, they're about 3% below projections. Overall, there's no deficits on any of the funds, and we're really doing pretty good with revenues and budget, everything staying within budget. Does anybody have any questions?
No. Okay, approve the April 2023 financial report.
So move.
Second.
Got a move by Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Mitchell. Discussion? Being none, please vote. Okay. Roll call, vote, Mr. Baker?
Aye.
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 Roll call is accepted, motion passes. Approve of minutes, April 17th, 2023, regular meeting.
So move.
I got a, motion by Mr. Rowe, second by Mr. Parker. Discussion? Being none, roll call vote, Mr. Mitchell?
Aye.
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 Yay.
Aye.
Roll call accepted, motion passes. May the 1st, 2023, Administrative Committee, Budget and Finance, Road, Community Service and Development, and Solid Waste Committee meeting.
So move.
Got a move by Mr. Jones,
Second.
got a second by Mr. Baker. Roll call vote, Mr. Baker?
Aye.
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 Roll call accepted, motion passes. Old business. Recommend change the language on the CEAs with the city, towns, and villages to require them to pay material, labor, equipment, and all other associated costs. I'd like to make an alternate motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make the alternate motion to keep it the same as we, the towns, cities, towns, and villages required to pay for material, police jury required for the labor and equipment.
Second.
I got a motion by Rodriguez, second by Mr. Mitchell. That motion is to pretty much leave the same, the CEA with the city, towns, and villages to require them to pay for material, police jury required for labor and equipment. Discussion. Yes, sir.
I believe the cities ought to pay for everything. The mayor of Stonewall made a statement that people in Stonewall don't use parish roads. I don't know how many people live in Stonewall. Quite a few of them have fishing boats. They all fish on Toledo Bend. There's only one ramp on Toledo Bend that you can get to without getting on a parish road. That's under the bridge at Logansport. They have to travel a parish road to get here. So that bull about they don't drive parish roads, that's a crock. The town of Stonewall, $668,806.44. This is sales tax collections. Mansfield, $3,251,818.13. Logansport, $289,598.23. Grand Cane, $155,149.93. Keachai, $164,427.51. South Mansfield comes in at just $91,355. If we're gonna support these projects in these towns, they should at least pay by the income that they have coming in and stuff. and not just give them free gratis. That's all.
Any more discussion?
Mr.
Jones?
President, I would have loved to see the little small sales tax we had. I mean, if you take a penny, divide it into 4 parts, one part would have all we need to pay for that sales tax. But it failed. And I looked at the numbers, I looked at all of the areas that voted. And all the other taxes that was on that ballot passed. But what the jury asked for. And to me, it seemed like people like us when they need us, but when they don't need us, they don't like us much. But I would like to see that tax pass. But I also in agreement with you that, we should continue doing what we're doing. Most of the streets that were worked on in Mansfield have been done by jurors, money allocated to each juror for their particular district. It didn't, and I think that it did, if your particular funding will pay for labor and material, then that's the way it was. And I don't know if we should do anything different. If a juror has the money allocated to a juror for his particular district or area, then use those funds. If he want to use those particular funds for that particular district, then he should. And if it will cover the cost of labor and material, then I think we should continue to do it.
Any more discussion?
I have a request.
Okay.
Can you amend your alternate motion to include the statement, authorize a resolution to be adopted? Because I'd like this by resolution, and we can have one drafted pretty quickly for the president to sign. That way we have something just more than something that's written up there. And I mean, I realize we don't file that in a book with ordinances or other resolutions. I'd like something, a resolution. That gives the staff direction whenever we do a CA, however way y'all decide to vote on this, I would like it by resolution that this is what we're gonna do for going forward. So we're not confused on these CEAs, because we get a lot of them. And it's not just from one town, it's from all over. So for that purpose, I would ask that y'all would make that a resolution, if that's okay.
Yes, sir. Are you ready for a vote, Ms. Jody?
Alternate motion for towns, village, and cities to pay for materials and police street to pay labor and equipment and authorize president to sign a resolution to be adopted.
Correct.
Is that right? Who made the motion? You
I did.
made it, and then Mr. Mitchell seconded, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty.
Motion passes. Item number 4, authorize the president to sign an amendment to own engineer agreement number 04 to determine option for detention facility and amend the jail fund budget up to $143,000 for the detention facility. We'll have a motion.
I'll make the motion. We gotta do something. I mean, gotta start somewhere.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell, made the motion. Do we have, sir?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Rowe. Discussion?
Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
Can
Yes.
Mr. Lauren come up?
Yeah, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Lauren.
Thank you. Lauren Marsheve, architect with Newman Marsheve Incorporated.
Did you have any comments
Yeah.
regarding this?
The budget fund that's in your motion now was based upon the original contract for a portion of the fee calculation for study and report. It's our opinion, based on the information from an earlier study and report that we did for the jury concerning all your different facilities, that the $143,000 is pretty excessive. We believe at this point that $70,000 is an adequate number. And we will, when we amend that agreement to put a dollar amount, that will be a maximum number, and we will invoice based on time to provide the service that you're asking us for. So if our final fee ends up being $40,000, that's all you get invoiced.
So you, originally, back in 2017, 18, 19, you guys produced a big, thick binder of options.
That's
and
correct.
repurpose options and everything else.
Right.
And we paid for that, correct?
That is correct.
So all you would be doing is updating that to current data, right, and current amounts?
Well, it wasn't a detailed component like the existing detention center. What we looked at was converting the existing detention center into other uses, not to upgrade it for a
Well, there's a
state-of-the-art
section in there saying if you choose not to go with the new detention center, then this is what we project the cost, the ADA and all that compliance to be updated. There was a section in there. I still have the binder in my office. And I looked at it this morning. So all those numbers would just need to be updated.
That's correct. There's a lot, most of it is cost stuff. The program component, which is part of a study and report, when we went through the process of the design of the new facility, there are a lot of components that are in that facility that you currently don't have. Some of them are required by the fire marshal, some are required by the health department, and some are just betterments to make the facility a better, more modern facility.
So it leads me to my actual question that, so we've already paid you to come up with those options originally before we ever decided to build and go forward with plans. And then we paid your firm to draw plans. And I don't have that number in front of me, but somebody sent it to me the last month. And it was a pretty substantial amount, almost all of the allowed amount, the allowable build amount. And I think the only remaining portion was just the supervision of the actual project portion.
That's correct.
So I guess with all of that being spent and sent to you guys, we're asking for more money now just to tell us this is an option?
Well, it's to go back and look at scaling back the facility that's already been designed. We know that y'all decided not to spend that much money to do that particular facility, so that's got to be scaled back for a working new facility versus renovating the existing facility for a detention center. We never did a detailed report to convert that building into y'all's permanent detention facility. The existing facility has pretty much met its life expectancy. The federal government says that detention facilities of your type should last 30 to 40 years, and you're approaching the 40-year mark on that facility.
So with you making that statement, if we give you $70,000 to spend, what are you going to come up with that's useful for us if that building has already met its life expectancy and you're just pretty much said it can't be used or it's not efficient to
without major renovations? And that's what we hope to do, is to be able to show you what it would take to convert that building into a modern detention facility for the parish that would be good for another 30 to 40 years.
So this plan and this money being spent has nothing to do with plans for a new detention facility, just to be clear.
Well, no, we will go back and look at the design of it and compare its cost to see, because we don't want to leave off the table your option to build a new facility versus the cost of that.
But we've already paid for that.
Well,
And
that
I
particular
remember-
design and concept by bid process was a great bit over budget. And y'all have elected not to put the additional funds in to build that facility.
But in one of those meetings we had that I attended, I think somebody else was there from the jury at the 911 office. Y'all went in and you brought your team up. There was several people, maybe 7 or 8 people in the room. And you said that you were at the process of, or at the point in the process of doing value-added engineering. That's what you're talking about doing now again, correct?
That's correct.
So we've already done that with rough numbers.
Well, yes, but
And
to
if
scale
you-
back the new facility, we're talking about cutting some things out of it.
But if we do it now, whenever we go, if we go to bid that project out, you're gonna have to do this all over again because numbers would have changed in the 6 months, 8 months it takes us to get to that point of saying, yeah, we wanna do that.
Yeah, the cost is a constant moving target.
That's it, Mr. Ross.
One question. You're going to give us plans on scaling back for a new facility because ours went over budget so far. Why did ours go over budget so far? You knew what our budget was. Why didn't you not stay within that budget? Why did you not cut out the things that were not necessary to stay within that budget to begin with?
There was no way that we could have anticipated the inflation factors that took place in the last year and a half. And there was no way to do that.
Okay, so the inflation factors have already happened. There's no way to scale back to the budget that we started with then, is there?
Only if you cut things out of it and make the building smaller.
That's what I was getting at. Why didn't we do that to begin with? Cut the building back, make things smaller, stay in the budget.
Any more questions?
Just a statement, that's what normally happens when you're looking at, something, budgeting something. You scale it back.
Well, we knew what the budget was.
Yeah.
Should have stayed within that
Just
budget.
stay within the budget.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've already paid for plans. That's one thing.
Right.
So we're going to pay some additional monies to go back and re-look at what was done to try to now stay within a budget. So the money that we've paid, has it come from this 143,000? Or
Over a
that
billion.
we,
Man.
Wasn't that number over $1 million? It was like $1.2 million?
Yeah.
so that was where we wanted to stay? Or is that what we've paid out? That's what we've given
For
to
the
you.
design and the documents that were put out for bid, for our office and all of our consultants and everyone else involved in the project.
Well, don't take this any kind of way, but me personally want to look at how it was broken down, how the money was spent before we go and spend some more money for some paper. I'm just,
Yeah.
that's quite a bit. I would like to see.
Mr. Mitchell?
Administrator, the jail itself in its condition, like it is, have we gotten any, from the fire marshal, from,
Anything like
or
that.
anybody, talking about shutting the jail down or any of that type thing? I mean, I've heard something, has anyone heard that or something like that? We were
Oh, jeez.
violations and they were just letting us slide or something. Kyle, you heard anything?
Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Last year when I was over building properties, there was one meeting that I think it was the Department of Health maybe?
Yes.
Is
yes,
holding, they're basically holding off on some findings because they knew we were working on, they were showing some grace because they knew we were working on plans. To answer your question, no, they have not sent us anything, but we do know that some things have to be addressed. Either way, we decide to go.
Yeah. I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martin, have you already started putting something into place to assure county with all this inflation and all, and everything, that you're gonna be able to bring this thing in within a reasonable amount? Me, myself, I'm just speaking for myself, I'd like to see a whole new facility. Because you put a Band-Aid on a ship, it's gonna spring a lot of other leaks, but that's just me. Other juries.
We should be able to give you some input and thoughts about cost of building new versus renovating fairly quickly without much expenditure of funds before we go too far. I don't think at this process we would want you to tell us, okay, go ahead and do the report and then come back and finish. We need to give y'all more input sooner on this because financing is what the problem is.
In your professional opinion, how long would it take you to get us some numbers? that you're speaking
I
of?
think within 30 days, we can have you some more information about how to move forward and cost one versus the other.
Okay. Another question?
Anybody else have a question?
All right, go ahead.
I just had one that's kind of a follow-up. So if we decide to spend this 70,000 with you guys and you draw up some ideas, are we gonna have to pay you again to draw up plans to make those ideas come to fruition?
Oh, yeah, this is just what we would call the program phase, to say what goes into the project. It's not producing any documents that anyone would build by.
So the plans we have can't be modified at a reduced cost and use some of that 1.2 million over?
And that's part of what we want to look at, is what can we take out of that building?
I guess what I'm asking is, what was the percentage of the job total that you guys got? Is it 7? What's the allowable amount for engineering? There's a percentage. Anybody know?
Yeah, it was based off the state's fee formula
And what
for
was it?
professional services. Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Whatever that percentage was, are you
10%.
gonna, somebody say something?
10%.
10%? Are you gonna charge
a
that
round
again
number.
based off, if this new number comes in, I'm making this up, at 15 million?
No,
you
we
gonna charge us
would
another
agree
10%?
to credit you whatever portion of the work we've already done that we don't have to repeat. Yeah, you would not be looking at that full fee service again.
Mr. Marshy, I have one, Mr. Raw. You can't tell me that you cannot take the original plan of the new facility and cut the fat out of it.
No, there's a lot that we can probably cut out of there, but y'all will have to make some decisions about components within there that you can live without.
Well, that's pretty easy to do when you got a $200,000 air conditioner going in there.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Take just
biggest
two,
problem that we
50,000.
saw with the bids was mechanical and electrical and concrete costs.
What you need to do, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is go to your 2 or 3 lowest bidders and ask them what they can cut, and then come up with an idea. And like he said, I'd pay you 70,000 to do that, rather than 70,000 telling me what this hole over here is gonna be like. There is a way to cut that number. And it's pretty easy. I do it every day. And cost inflation, if you're on the cost of inflation, like we are, we know what it is every month. We know concrete's at this number. We know materials at this number. So then what you do is start locking in POs on your equipment that you need to hold that price. But you need to get there. I'm like Mr. Mitchell. I'd rather see a new jail than put a Band-Aid on this one over here. You know, but it's no use in spending $8, $10, $12 million on this thing over here when we could take the same 12 million and add to that one over there. Once you get the cost down to 27 million instead of 33 million, that's the target you work at.
Yeah, we understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? If none, thank you.
Am I changing the amount on this motion to 70,000?
Yes, 70. Thank you. Yes,
The what? What I do?
70,000.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Mr. Mitchell?
Is there any way, Mr. Marcy, that y'all could give our administrator a monthly billing?
Yes, yeah. We can keep you informed on a monthly basis of what we're doing and how we're progressing with it.
Give it a little, he might lose it.
Do we,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't laughing at you, I was.
do we have a selection of the architects on that? Or we just chose him? We just chose him.
Please vote.
Michael chose.
Steve,
Authorize the president to
what we voting on?
We changed it
Authorize
to
the president to sign
70,000.
agreement.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Man, I think that payment should have been,
Okay.
I think the payment should have been come up with something. This is the pay. Come up with us a building. If that one didn't work, come up with another one.
Motion passes. New business. Approve the E911 naming Rawhide Private Lane.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Rowe. Second by Mr. Parker. Discussion.
Where is it?
I do not know. Where's Rawhide
It's in Texas somewhere.
Private Lane?
Anybody know? Somebody put it on the agenda.
Well, the E911 put it on.
They contacted us to put it on.
I think it is in Frierson.
Is it?
I see a sign already up.
Okay.
Put a sign on it.
Please vote. Roll call vote, Mr. Mitchell?
Aye.
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 Roll call vote is accepted, motion passes. Resolutions. Recommend authorize the president to sign a resolution for Cypress Energy Corporation. Request that the DeSoto Parish Police Jury place a sealed bid with Louisiana Department of Natural Resources. All of the mineral rights owned by the DeSoto Parish Police Jury, namely streets, alleys, right-of-ways that the police jury own in Section 21, Township 15 North, Range 14 West, containing approximately 14.733 acres.
So move.
Got a move by Mr. Jones, make the motion. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Holmes. Discussion. Being none, please vote. Motion passes. Number 7, authorize the president to sign a resolution approving the issuance of revenue refunding bonds in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $24,500,000 pursuant to Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended and providing for other matters with respect to foregoing.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Kennedy. Discussion. Being none, please vote. Motion passes. Ordinance number 8, recommend adopting ordinance 4 of 2023, amending section 78-8 of chapter 78 pertaining to permits to haul heavy and oversized loads on parish maintained roads and bridges.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Mitchell,
Second.
second by Mr. Jones. Discussion. Being none, please vote. Motion passes. Item number 10, recommend adopting ordinance 5 of 2023, amending section 78-9 of chapter 78 pertaining to excessive damage to roads by motor vehicles.
Second.
Got a move by make the motion by Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Mitchell. Discussion?
One discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Motor vehicles, you got several types. What, are we talking commercial or, you know?
Administrator,
private?
that'll be,
Motor vehicles that classified over, I believe, 18,000 pounds per axle.
Okay,
Heavy trucks and stuff like that.
thank you.
Mr. Ross, I'd just like to make sure that on this one and the next one that our legal representative helps us stay above board on it. You know, that if we need scales, we get scales.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we have rules and, you know, we prove without a shadow of a doubt that that vehicle did the damage and we don't guess and all those sort of things that would get us into frivolous stuff.
And I'd like to expound on that just a little bit. We are going to be bringing to the jury probably next month. I've implemented scales to be carried by all our permit officers. So we're going to have to purchase those scales. They are costly, so I'm going to bring that to y'all. In addition to that, they have to be certified scales that are calibrated. We've contacted the person that does it in this region. He's going to do the calibration for us and certify our permit officers, which is, from what I'm told, it's not a very difficult thing to do. It's basically teaching them how to use the scales and whatnot.
Right.
So,
Okay, thank you. Please vote if there's no more questions. Motion passes. Item number 10, recommend adopting ordinance 6 of 2023, amending the fees associated with permits to haul heavy and oversized load on parish maintained roads and bridges.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Rowe,
Second.
second by Mrs. Boyd, excuse me. Discussion? Being none, please vote. Motion passes. Administrative item.
Administrative items recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the town of Logansport for help with the River City Festival.
Also moved.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Dwayne Mitchell,
Second.
second by Mrs. Boyd. Discussion? Being none, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 12 recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with Mansfield Civic Group LLC to help with the Juneteenth festival.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones,
Second.
second by Ms. Boyd, Simpson, and Mr. Mitchell. Discussion? If not, none, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 13 recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with DeSoto Habilitation Services Incorporated for repairs to their roof.
So,
Got a
moved.
motion by Mrs. Trina Boyd Simpson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Discussion? No discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 14 recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the DeSoto High Alumni Association to provide educational enrichment programs, feeding programs, recreational programs, and other services in Mansfield and DeSoto Parish.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bard made the motion, second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Discussion? No discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 15, recommends adopting 2023-2024 operating budget for the DeSoto Parish Sales and Use Tax Commission.
So move.
Mr. Rowe made the motion,
Second.
second by Mrs. Simpson. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
And item number 16, recommends authorizing an administrator to sign an agreement with Purple Guys for maintenance renewal.
Mr. Kennedy made the motion. Have anybody second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Baker. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
And item number 17, recommends authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the city of Mansfield to facilitate the tie-in to the community sewage system over in KCS Community
So move.
Subdivision.
Got, Mr. Jones made the motion.
Second.
A second by Mr. Simpson. Discussion?
Is this the only one that's not completely ARPA funds?
No, she.
No, she's doing it out of her.
No,
We don't-
part of that is out of the general fund.
Like 400, wasn't it?
No. 150 out of the general fund, 100 from ARPA.
Yeah, this is for the sewer system, not the community center. Any more discussion? Please vote. Motion passes. Budget and finance item.
Mr. Baker?
Budget and Finance recommends authorizing the parish treasurer to move CDs into a higher interest-bearing account at the community bank.
Make a motion.
Motion?
Make
Motion by
motion.
Mr. Holmes. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ernell Jones. Discussion?
Is this what we were talking about at the last meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, I'll be recusing myself for obvious reasons.
Thank you.
I said Mr. Jones, Mr. Ross.
Yes, but I mean,
I was
I know
right
what you
with
meant.
Jones.
I know what you meant.
I was writing his name because he seconded it.
If there's no more discussion on this item, would you please vote? Motion passes. Community Service and Development Public Housing. Number 19, recommend awarding the lower bid for weatherization material.
So move.
I got, Mr. Rowe made the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kennedy and Mrs. Simpson. Discussion? No, if there's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Road item.
Recommend awarding low bid for annual materials.
So move.
I got Mr. Mitchell made the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Holmes. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Recommend awarding low bid for asphalt roller.
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Kennedy,
Second.
Second by Mrs. Simpson. Discussion. There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Recommend authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the city of Mansfield and the village of South Mansfield for drainage on Division Street.
Trina? I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Kennedy. Second by Mrs. Simpson, correct? In your district.
Yes. Yeah, my street. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? If there's no discussion, please vote.
Yeah.
Recommend authorizing the
Motion
president.
passes, sorry.
Recommend authorizing the president to sign a CEA with the city of Mansfield for paving on Country Street,
Shelley.
Kelly Street.
Slide, sorry.
What?
Slide Street. Do I have a motion? This is Arnell. Slide Street.
23.
Recommend authorizing the president to sign the city of Mansfield paving.
That's in your district?
I think that's Ms. Burrell district.
Oh, Ms. Burrell.
Ms. Burrell district.
I make the motion.
I second.
Got a motion by Ross, second by Mr. Arnell Jones. Discussion? No discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Recommend installing 2 speed bumps on Carmel Loop due to speeding.
So move. Got a motion by Rodriguez Ross, second by Mr. Mitchell. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Solid waste item.
Recommends authorizing the president to sign an agreement with Biomethane Partners.
So move.
I need to make an alternate motion to defer this until our next regular meeting. Yes, sir. Till our next regular meeting next month.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Baker to defer this to next month meeting. Second by Mr. Mitchell, second by Mr. Rowe.
May I ask why, Mr. Baker?
Why is that?
Yeah, we took a hard look at the agreement and decided that it was subject to public lease law publication. So we needed to file notices for 3 weeks about the proposal.
Public bid laws?
Oh, public lease law.
Public
It's
lease
different.
law.
It's different than public bid law. It's public lease law. We can talk about it after in detail if you want.
Yeah. Just making sure we're doing it by the right way.
But he's saying the public bid law, and you saying that it's not.
There's 2 different laws. There's a public bid law and there's public land lease law.
Same principle, just different laws.
But they're slightly different in their application.
Public lease law.
Yeah, yes. Trust me.
I'm saying
They're gonna lease our property to put their facilities on our property, so we have to advertise. So if anybody else wanted to do it, they have the opportunity to present their case.
Like a mineral right.
Okay.
It's just doing it the correct way.
Other people have the opportunity to submit a proposal to lease the land.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm not understanding why, because other companies come to us. I think another company came to us about doing some business out there. putting something up, and they didn't have to go to a public bid law. They didn't have to go to public bid.
They're not leasing
All
our
we doing is
property.
cotton. Go ahead.
They're buying their own property.
Okay,
They're just taking our trash.
okay. All right, we'll discuss it a little later on then.
I can explain it to you in detail if you want.
All right.
Please vote. Holmes. Motion passes. Motion to adjourn? Got a motion to adjourn by Mr. Rowe, second by everybody. Thank you, we're adjourned.
Yeah, we did that last week, so it could, so we could pass.
I see.
Slow down.